Make Your Peace podcast is the Wynonna Earp fan podcast that digs deep into every episode, not only providing comprehensive recaps, but also delving into character relationships and motivations. Hosts Catherine and Laura take their time exploring all the nooks and crannies of each action-packed episode, puzzling over and speculating on moments you may have missed. If you enjoy a good discussion of your favorite sci-fi show, then this podcast is definitely for you. You can find Make Your Peace podcast on Twitter at 4YE_MYP podcast, where you will find links to their latest episodes. Make Your Peace podcast. Dig a little deeper.
Hey everyone! Welcome to Make Your Peace, a 4YE podcast about Wynonna Earp. I'm Catherine Meushaw.
And I'm Lara Hayes.
And today we'll be discussing Season 3, Episode 4, No Cure for Crazy. But a few notes before we get into it. First off, thanks to the folks at Earp Fiction Addiction podcast for the commercial that we've been using in the beginning, the past couple episodes. Secondly, thank you to everyone for the comments and sharing the podcast. We really appreciate it, especially not being on iTunes. We know it makes it really hard to share and listen sometimes, and even pay attention to when we post because we don't post consistently. So thanks everybody for helping us get out there. And thirdly, just as a side note, I'm dog sitting this week, and he's a very needy and energetic lab, and they have hardwood floors. So apologies in advance for any background dog noises that may or may not happen. So with that, Lara, what was this episode about?
The forest reveals its secrets and a clue to Nicole's past. Meanwhile, Wynonna pays an unexpected visit to her mother.
I do love these episode descriptions. So I know you want to start with the title.
I do. So, keeping with your request, my first impression of this, I kind of waffled a little bit on this one.
Yeah.
When the titles were released, I knew that Michelle would be a part of this season, but I didn't know how much. I didn't know much else about her, or how heavily, she would feature.
Right.
So I believed this would be about Wynonna, because we all know that most of Purgatory thinks she's kind of out there and has for most of her life. So I kind of thought that was the direction this was going. But the title for this episode comes from the song of the same name performed by Kelly Pickler of American Idol fame.
Oh. Well, that's fun. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
And with that, I don't really have any fabulous way to start the episode, as I don't have any lengthy fandom PSAs this week. Or episode rants. Well, not that I want to start with. So where do you want to start?
I'm going to start with Wynonna's massively insensitive questioning of Nicole's brush with cult massacre. I thought it was hilarious and cringeworthy on so many levels.
It's Wynonna.
Yes, and it took way too long for her to realize how insensitive she was being, and then her backtracking was just awful. I loved it so much. And their terrible, makeup after that, awkward, shoulder slap that Nicole gives Wynonna and Waverly's, forced group hug. I just thought the whole scene was hilarious.
I take it back. Maybe I do have a rant to start the episode with. I gotta say, though, I did not like that Waverly's excuse for telling Wynonna this very personal trauma that Nicole is going through is, well, no secrets. Especially considering the fact that she sure as hell hasn't told anybody about Doc's wife.
Yeah. Okay, so devil's advocate for a second here. This is Bolshar centered, and as far as we know, Kate has nothing to do with Bolshar. As far as we know.
I mean, she still is one of the vampires that came to town and stuff like that, though. She's still kind of a
player.
dealt
with that,
I'm just saying that also...
We put the kibosh on it. This is Cult of Bolshar Massacre Survivor, kind of relevant to what they got going on right now. But that's just me.
No, I
I'm
get
not
that.
saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying I can kind of see maybe how that would have come up.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where it was like, she definitely took something that was supposed to be like, she took a couple thing because that was part of their problem, like no secrets between them as a couple, and then brought Wynonna into it and was like, oh, well, sorry, I told her this personal thing that you may have wanted to tell people, but no secret. So I don't know. It just bothered me.
I get it. I see why it bothered you.
And along with that, I thought some of the stuff with Nicole in general has been a little weird this season, I think. But like, Waverly makes a comment in that exchange about Wynonna and Nicole needing to have each other's backs for a change. Like, I thought that was really weird considering the relationship that Wynonna and Nicole have, because they've kind of consistently had each other's backs.
Yeah, but there is also like a lot of like backbiting. Like, it's not that they're not in each other's corners, but like they do give each other a hard time.
But that's like I think that's just a person, like, I think that's just kind of the relationship that they have, kind of like ribbing each other or whatever. But, it's like, that's one thing, like, or like, hey, be nicer is one thing, then have each other's backs for a change. Because, like, Wynonna, like, look at the season 2 finale, Wynonna trusted Nicole with her plan to get Alice out. It's like, that was Nicole that she trusted with that.
Yeah.
Like, getting Nicole up off the cliff in episode 2, there was that trust there. There's been a level of having each other's backs throughout the series. So I just thought it was a really weird comment. And there's just been weird stuff to me with like just Nicole in general. It's like, I don't know if they're trying the Nicole is mad at Wynonna on Waverly's behalf approach with some of this, with their interactions, but some of their interactions have just been weird. Like, in the first episode, when Waverly has that line, like, we love Wynonna, and the way Nicole delivers the, well, like, again, that's playful ribbing and stuff like that, but it's like when you add that to, like, some of the other stuff we've been dealing with, like Nicole not wanting to go get Wynonna at Shorty's, which I get it. She's not a messenger pigeon. She's an officer. I don't know. It's just some of it's kind of like, it's one of those things where it's like on their own, it's fine, but stacked up, it's like presenting a really weird thing for me. It's like all of a sudden there's a weird thing going on, and I don't know if it's just me or...
I mean, I'm not feeling that way, but I'm not saying that it's just you. I'm not feeling that way. And like, I think it's believable if Nicole is kind of having a hard time in this episode, especially like navigating Wynonna after, because her girlfriend has presumably been so upset, like since the last time we saw her, and they've just got a lot going on, and on top of losing dolls and everything, like now there's this new big secret that just kind of rocked Waverly's world. So I buy it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, that's what I said. It seems like they're kind of, at least especially in this episode, they're going with the Nicole is mad at Wynonna on Waverly's behalf, basically, for like keeping that big thing and upsetting Waverly and stuff like that, because that is hard when, you're seeing somebody and you care about them, and, their family member does something that upsets them so deeply. It's hard to not carry that.
Yeah, I think it is.
So, like, I get it. It's just, I don't know. I think it mostly just stems with that comment Waverly made just made no sense to me.
I think maybe it's a word choice problem, though, and not, like,
it is. Like, it's...
Yeah. I get what you're saying. I just, personally, I wasn't bothered by it.
Yeah, well, you know me. I get bothered by, like, all the things and all the little things.
I do love that Nicole finally got to be the one to storm in on a romantic moment instead of, like, having her moment trampled on.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah, I loved the revenge for all those, like, way hot misses.
Yeah, and I like her comment about it. And I firmly believe that Doc and Wynonna should have heard her because of the way she went stomping down those steps.
Yeah.
Like, I say that as somebody...
Purposeful.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and I say that as somebody who has definitely... Haven't we all been in a situation where it's like you've heard somebody come in and it's like, oh shoot, like most people have an ear for stuff like that. So yeah, she was definitely stomping down those stairs. Yeah, I had a couple of really wonky issues, I think, with some of the writing this episode. And I was able to, like, really pinpoint on it. But even, like, looking at Wynonna having Nicole's back, like, even the kind of comment to Nedley about, well, maybe you should, promote somebody, basically. That maybe you should pass off the torch, however you want to say it. And, like, looking at Nicole. Oh, while we're still kind of on that, sorry, my brain's jumping. I had Wynonna calls Nicole, like, deputy sheriff.
Yeah.
When did that?
Esquire.
Yeah, I ignored the Esquire part.
That's so funny. Okay.
But, like, this is the first time we've ever heard her referred to as a deputy sheriff. Isn't it?
Is it? What did that business card say in season 1?
Officer Hot. Officer Nicole
okay.
Hot or something. I just couldn't remember because I know, like last season with Nedley, it's like I remember the uniform thing. I didn't remember if a title change came with like her being able to make some of those decisions and stuff. I just can't remember. If somebody wants to correct me, like it has been mentioned before, please do so. Oh man, I was really hoping I had a screen cap of Nicole's business card, but wouldn't you know it, that's not a part of that scene that I screen capped.
All good.
I think it's
probably I think it's probably something that she got recently.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of revealed in dialogue because it happened a while ago.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting. I'm not mad about it. So it caught me.
I did love Wynonna's, like, supportive tirade to Nedley, like, right before she was, like, step aside, pass the torch. But my favorite thing about that scene is Melanie's, like, huge inhale after.
Yes!
It's just comically over the top and really funny, and I think she did it, like, really beautifully. And as much as I don't want to lose Nedley ever, I do think that's probably coming, and I do believe he's been grooming Nicole to take his place for a while now.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think that was clear last season, actually.
I think so too.
And I'm waiting for it. I just Earper Homestead Con was this past weekend, and I was busy, so I didn't watch any of the panels and stuff like that. But I think I remember seeing a tweet or two talking about like Nedley has a good season. Mm-hmm. So apparently. I think, if I'm wrong, again, please correct me because I haven't watched yet. But I'm wondering if that's part of it. And also, it seems like he had kind of an interesting feelings or something with Michelle. So I think that might come into play. I only hope, that it's not something where he ends up dying for one reason or another. Because I do like him as a character, and there are other ways to put Nicole in that position without killing him off, and there's ways to manage that without doing something like that. So I'm a little part of me is worried that in an effort to promote Nicole, we might lose Nedley.
I'm gonna be straight with you. Haha.
How dare you?
I think the odds are high that Nedley's gonna die in the field. High.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to do something heroic, and that's the way that he's going to go out, and we're all going to have a bunch of feelings about it, and that's probably what's going to happen.
But I don't want to have another episode where we talk about a character death.
I know, but I would brace for that one. I would. Also, Nedley gave me 1 million feelings this episode, and I'm so glad. I know. Yeah, I'm so glad that he got some real screen time and some backstory to him. Like, so, we know Ward was his boss, and Ward told him to book Michelle on arson charges. He wanted her gone. And I don't know, I mean, like, why, right? But... Mm-hmm. So he wanted his wife put away, probably not for endangering the life of his least favorite child.
Yeah.
But, like, back to Nedley, he tells Waverly that he never believed that Michelle meant to harm her, and
Yeah.
he was the one who pulled the report. He covered it up. He looked out for both the Earp girls.
Yeah.
He couldn't stand up to Ward to save Michelle, but he tried to make up for that in many ways after she was gone. And I just loved that entire scene. It was so... It was kind of understated.
Yeah.
You know? And he gave like a gravity to it that I really appreciated. I think the scene was beautiful.
Yeah, I'm with you. I really enjoyed Nedley's scenes were probably some of my favorite in the episode. Just because, yeah, I mean, we get, you know, we already kind of love Nedley as a character, but it's like, we're just reminded how good Nedley is, and then just how crappy Ward is.
Yeah.
Like, Ward's the worst, man.
The worst.
But what's weird is I thought Ward was a deputy. I didn't realize that he was the sheriff.
Maybe he got demoted.
I could have just, like, I have a tendency to not pay attention to obnoxious characters sometimes. So
Gotcha.
maybe the deputy part was, I think Curtis was his deputy. So that might have been what I was thinking.
Oh.
Now that I'm saying that, maybe that was see, sometimes I gotta talk this out.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I don't really care that much about Ward. He's kind of terrible, so.
He's pretty awful.
He really is. But yeah, I think one of my favorite parts about that scene with Nedley, though, is just, you know, just saying he doesn't believe there's an evil bone in Michelle Gibson's body. I just kind of like that. Waverly's line after he said that was kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That if there's anything I've learned over the past several months, it's that evil wears many faces.
Yep.
And it seemed like that line even kind of surprised Nicole. Like there was, I don't know. So I thought that line was really interesting.
I think it's really cool because it's kind of a Wynonna line, right?
Yeah.
It's a little jaded, it's a little cynical, and Waverly doesn't do jaded or cynical. So it was strange to see her in that light.
She had a rough day.
She did. I know she did.
I mean, she had a rough day. I gotta admit, once again, I don't know how many times I'm gonna end up saying this. This episode was not necessarily one of my favorites. And I think a lot of the stuff with Michelle has been really sloppy to me. And also, like they were trying, I think, a little bit too hard to create some of this conflict or something. I don't know. I don't know. There was something about the episode that about her stuff that felt sloppy, and it's like Waverly coming back and saying, well, she tried to kill me. And it's like, did she though? Like, and I know it's scary. Like, Waverly had a really scary interaction. I don't know. There was a lot of stuff with Michelle that kind of, like, her storyline, that whole thing with a lot of the stuff with the prison, because I'm going to keep calling it a prison, because they keep calling it prison in the episode, or in the show. I don't know. A lot of that felt a little bit weird. And I think that was a little rambly and maybe didn't make a lot of sense. So, again, sorry, folks. Not only am I dog sitting, but I'm working on very little sleep because the dog wakes up ungodly early. So, I'm sorry.
When I watched the episode and I was live tweeting it, I was a little bit confused by Waverly's reaction. I was pretty distracted at the time. And I was like, why did she... Yeah, so I was like, why was that her takeaway? That, like, Michelle was, like, trying to kill her. But I think on the second watch, I think it says more about Waverly's fear of who or what she really is than it does about Michelle's reaction.
Yeah.
I think it's Waverly's internal fears about what she is being projected onto not a warm reception, probably one of the worst mother-daughter reunited, like scenes ever. It really did not work out for Waverly, but that was kind of like how I took that. I thought Waverly was projecting.
I 100% agree. Waverly completely misunderstood what was happening, which I guess is understandable because she's so she's been worried about this, especially Wynonna told her that Michelle specifically said that she didn't want Waverly knowing where she was, ever.
Yep.
So it's like, Waverly's already feeling a certain way. She's no idea where she's coming from. So yeah, I get that. I just think on like a broader scale, like, so not necessarily the Waverly thing, it was just a good lead-in for me to talk about it. But like some of it just felt really sloppy with like the prison stuff, this episode. So it was kind of a little bit rough for me. But no, I agree. There was a fear-based response to that. And, cause when I first watched it, I was totally focused on, well, she's looking above Waverly. And I got caught up in like the tone shift and stuff like that, because the tone shift, like there's a tone shift that happens when she sees, like it doesn't happen immediately when she sees Waverly. It takes her a second. So it's like she sees something, not necessarily. And I know Waverly interprets it as, oh crap, you know, I'm just, you know, she's after me or whatever. But they do a lot of really interesting things with the tonal shifts with Michelle, like when she speaks and stuff like that. That make it clear that like when she's talking to things and stuff like that, and it pops up a lot in this episode, even in the recordings at the end, the tone shifts and stuff like that, and when she speaks.
Yeah, I agree. I picked up on that too. I thought that was pretty neat. I think there was a quote too in like episode 2 about like the Earth wanting blood or needing blood or something like that, and I do wonder whether or not that played some part in Michelle's like attack on that prison guard or nurse or whatever it was.
It's a therapist.
The prison therapist. I do wonder if that like played a part in it, because she scrawls like what the voice is telling her in blood, when I imagine like a stolen ink pen probably would have worked just fine. But I think she was scrawling what the voices were saying in blood, kind of like sort of like that, like Spike quote in Buffy, you know, where he's like, because it's always got to be blood.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was oh man, I was going to be really impressive and list the episode that was, but for some reason it's not coming to me.
It was definitely season 5, right?
No, it was season 5.
Yeah.
It comes up a couple of times in season 5, but I just can't remember. Anyway. I read it completely differently, especially on a rewatch, because when she's talking about the demon, she mentions when she sees Waverly and she like freaks out, what Michelle says is, she's unbound, she's loose.
Yes.
So I don't think that the never get out was necessarily something that she was saying because she's having auditory hallucinations and probably, you know, actual visual ones. But I don't think it's that. I think that was her, you know, just saying, you'll never get out. Like, you'll never get out. It's trying to talk to the demon, not necessarily reflect whatever the voices are telling her. Because she also says, when in that scene, in that padded room scene, she says, you've gone too far this time. And then she continues, you'll never get out. You'll never get out. Never get out. Never get out. And I'm pretty sure it is, you'll never get out. So
what she writes on the wall is never get out. Never get out.
Right. It is. But I'm pretty sure she says, you'll never get out. And then, like I said, when she sees Waverly, you know, she's unbound, she's loose. So I think there's something with the demon that's after Waverly. That's what she's talking about with like she's talking to the demon, not reflecting the voices, I think.
Oh, okay, so I would agree with you if we hadn't seen what we saw happen with Doc this episode.
Oh, okay.
That's like, yeah, so I think that all of Michelle's talking to herself in her cell, and that whole thing, and then what we're hearing on those audio recordings later are all meant to tell us what is happening to Doc right now. That's kind of how I'm coming at it.
Yeah, and no, I mean, like, I agree that she's hearing things, and I agree that she's probably seeing something, like, she's seeing something. I just think she's not repeating whatever it is that she's saying. She's talking to what she's seeing, or maybe talking to an additional entity that we don't see. Or an additional entity, like a third party.
Possibly. Yeah, it's possible, because obviously Jolene was unbound, or something had gone wrong, and somehow that demon had gotten loose, or whatever, because that's the way the entire episode ends later. I hope it comes up more. I feel like it's weird to set Doc up this way, and use Michelle. Not use Michelle as foreshadowing when their symptoms seem to mirror each other so closely.
I had an interesting thing about Doc. A couple of interesting things about Doc. One of them, thanks to you, because you pointed out with Kate and the history, they probably, like with the history with like seances and stuff and tarot. Last episode you talked about that? Mm-hmm. Yeah, spiritualism, thank you. Maybe if you're very much on the right track, which you probably are, based on history, Doc maybe has an additional connection. He's also been to hell in some form. Mm-hmm. And this is after he had that interaction with Bolshar, where Bolshar threatened, like, he's like, you're going to work for me. He tells Doc he's going to do his bidding, and then asks how he should coerce him, with pain or with the promise of reprieve from, the reminder of destiny and stuff like that. So it could be Bolshar trying to do something, like, either, like, it could be with Bolshar maybe trying to do something with that as well, like maybe trying to get in his head in a different way or something like that. Sorry, that was, again, long-winded. My thoughts aren't coming as quickly as they normally do, so bear with me. But yeah, I did have that thought with it, that maybe Doc has kind of a different connection, especially with his connection with Kate, too, so.
Yeah, I was a big fan of Doc's meeting with Bolshar in the woods. Like, not only does Bolshar confuse and unsettle Doc with the baby cries, it was very nice, I think, setting us up with that with the bassinet beforehand to kind of hint at how effective this tactic would be on Doc. And I think we can also assume at this point that when Doc falls and screams, "Don't take me back there," like, Bolshar is showing him or making him think he's back in hell or back in the well, like one or the other. And, Mama Earp told Wynonna before she left for Greece that when the demon rises, he'll rule people, body and mind. So I think we can safely assume that if Doc tries to resist Bolshar's influence or his wishes, he'll go the way Michelle has gone.
Right. Oh yeah. Depending on what Bolshar asks for, it would not surprise me if Doc makes a deal.
Well, it wouldn't be his first,
Right.
Like, let's be fair. Like, he's made a deal like that before.
And I mean, no, he didn't know the cost, but he has since he is starting to really deal with the idea of his own mortality since he lost, that curse, basically. So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all if he makes that deal. Especially, I mean, we don't know what that simple exchange is, and I have a feeling that's a good indication that he will make that deal, since we don't know since we don't know what Bolshar wants from him.
Yeah,
I think it'll come up when it's revealed that Doc made that deal.
Make it, maybe not. I'm not saying he'll deliver on it.
Well, no. Right. I think that's when it's going to come up. We're going to get that reveal as to why he made it and, like, what the exchange was. So.
Yeah. Poor Nicole, too. She is the first to witness Doc's, like, slight break with reality when he asks if she hears that infernal groan on Michelle's tapes. And I have a feeling that if she's the first to see it, she's probably going to be the first to raise a red flag about it. And I doubt Waverly and Wynonna will thank her for that.
Probably not. Probably not. There's also, I mean, Nicole's got him on her radar now, as far as, like, hey, something's really wrong with Doc.
Yeah.
I mean, that whole thing was just really interesting. And I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with that. Honestly, Doc not making a deal would surprise me more than Doc making a deal.
Yeah, it might surprise me too.
I'm going to forget that I said that, though. So whenever it happens...
I'd be so mad about it.
By the time I actually get these theories out, like, once this episode is edited, there's a chance I'll forget most of what I've said. Which is surprising, considering the amount of time you spend on these things, and it's like, by the time it goes out in the world, it's like, what was I talking about? I have no idea.
It's just a thought purge right after.
I don't need this here anymore. It's leaving. Yeah, I mean, some of the littler stuff like that was like more exciting to me in this episode than I think some of the major plot points.
I think that was pretty major.
Yeah. Well, even the littlest stuff though. But even like, because I guess I'm talking about like when you look at like the A and B plots of the episode, that wasn't really one of the A or B plots. That's what I meant. Like Doc hearing things necessarily, but yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens there. I think it'll wait a couple of episodes with what we have next episode though.
Yeah, because now we're in that happy dreamland. We got to talk about Jolene. So
I know. I was gonna say, we've been talking long enough where I think we got to talk about the Zoe Palmer in the room.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we can assume quite a lot from this episode. Michelle, when she burned the barn down, when Waverly was in it, she was probably trying to bind or banish Jolene, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and what I want to know is how that demon is connected to Waverly. I don't know. I don't think Jolene is connected to Bolshar, but I don't know. I think if she is, we'll find out in the next episode. But I do think that Michelle was trying to protect Waverly from her when she was a child and the spell went wrong. And I don't know why Jolene would need or want Waverly. I don't know why she would need or want her dead. I don't know why a child should be plagued by a demon familiar. Yeah. But it looks like that's what we're dealing with.
I kind of had a theory that she wants to kill Waverly. Because if you still want to go with the theory that Waverly is an angel, it could be as simple as because Waverly is an angel and a being of such good, that demon wants to kill her.
Like an equal opposite reaction type deal?
I mean, yeah, it makes sense. Demon wanting to kill an angel to me, or an angelic entity. So I had that theory. I mean, Michelle's calling her a demon, but maybe there's something more to Jolene. Maybe she is if you want to go on the flip side, especially with, again, what you were talking about last week with how the tarot card flipped, suggesting that maybe the angel wasn't the correct interpretation. Maybe Jolene is a benevolent entity trying to take out a malevolent one. You can go that line of thinking with it as well.
So, okay, cool. So you think that maybe Jolene is sort of an intermediary right now. So there's the Samara demon that we saw in the barn.
No, I firmly believe Jolene and the Samara demon are the same people.
Oh, okay, all right, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I was like, wait a second, let me wrap my head around this, because I guess that's another option, isn't it? Like, technically they could have all been scooped up by a good fairy and fed brownies while Meushaw Earp fights Samara to the death in the barn. That's another possibility.
No. It was option 1, demon wants to kill Waverly Angel. Option 2, angel or angelic entity wants to kill demon Waverly. Or option 3, demon wants to kill demon Waverly. That's where I'm at right now.
Word, yeah, it's one of those.
I firmly believe, I'm pretty sure it's the demon wanting to kill Angel Waverly, but I just think the other two were fun options that I couldn't not mention, because every time I don't mention a theory on here, or a thought, I end up regretting it later.
If this angel theory pans out and it's right, I kind of hope that the Jolene thing is like the passenger when Buffy got resurrected in the beginning of season 6.
I had like 2 other Buffy references to pull out, but neither of them were that one, so thank you.
Amazing.
Yeah, that'd be kind of interesting.
Yeah, you know, like that little demon thing just sort of latched onto her when it was watching her move between worlds.
Yeah.
And so I wonder if that is Jolene's connection.
Maybe.
Or something along those lines, you know.
Yeah, it kind of latched on when Bolshar was set free. Like, kind of came out when something happened with Bolshar, too. Like, maybe a couple of demons were bound, and maybe she came out, too.
Yeah, I think that's totally possible. I think Bolshar rising has something to do probably with why she's unbound now.
Yeah.
What I want to know is why she was hanging around Waverly when Waverly was an itty-bitty, and I think maybe something hitched a ride on her. If she's some divine thing that was brought to Earth in the flesh, you know what I mean? Maybe some malevolent thing latched onto her.
Maybe. My 2 Buffy references, since I mentioned it, was we totally had like a Ted band candy moment at the end.
Oh my god, yeah, we totally did.
Yeah, like I totally I'm mostly Ted, I think. Also, yeah, I have one of my notes is like Jolene is obviously the demon. And then I suggested like maybe a Hansel and Gretel situation, like maybe she's more of a witch, and like because she makes several. Not only is she, like, feeding them a bunch of sweets and stuff like that, but she also makes mention of basically fattening them up. It's, oh, you gotta keep you gotta eat a lot to keep your strength because you gotta fight this demon.
Yeah.
So I think maybe we have a fun, like, Hansel and Gretel situation, maybe a play on that.
Yeah, I didn't go there with it, but I see your point. I like that.
Yeah, it was, you watch this thing, like, 3 times, and new stuff pops into your head every time. I watch these episodes 3 times at least, so it's like by the time I get to recording, so I sit with a lot, and it's like I catch different things. I also had another Jolene related theory that maybe if she is maybe going to target Michelle, that maybe she's going to make Michelle look like a demon so that they kill Michelle. If she is working for Bolshar or something like that, or if she is working for another entity that maybe, or making Waverly look like a demon so that they kill her.
I think she would make her move against Waverly.
Yeah, probably. But again, I'm throwing everything out there since, Michelle has tried to kill her multiple times.
I have a soft spot for like chipper demons and peppy psychos. They're some of my they're some of my favorite baddies, and I got like such a kick out of the fact that Jolene was mind controlling through those like baked goods, because when I first fell in love with Zoe Palmer when she played Dr. Lauren Lewis on Lost Girl, Dr. Lewis was also a baker, and though though, like, Lauren's baking was more like science nerd with a nervous compulsion and a love of chemistry, this was a really nice callback, I thought, to, like, Lost Girl fans. Also, this is not the way I expected to be introduced to the character Jolene at all, and it is a really delightful surprise.
I mean, I'm same way. And, you say you have a soft spot for, like, the, that kind of character. I mean, I've just got a soft spot for Zoe Palmer, so...
Me too.
I was not, because, we all saw her in the credits, and I was, you get 5 minutes to the end of the episode, and you're like, how the hell is she coming in?
Left field.
And then that happens. I mean, it's such a great scene, and I went, like, all in describing it in my recap, just because I'm that person. In my long recap, not the short one, sorry guys. The one that you don't get to see. So I should probably stop talking about it. But no, I mean, just because it's like they went all in, because the homestead is, I mean, it's nighttime. The house is dark and stuff like that. But Jolene is dressed in a bright color with the bright apron. The desserts are all like pastel-y, like the icing on the cupcakes is pastels. Everything's bright in that regard. You've got that like pastel blue tablecloth. It's everything kind of brightens up just in that particular spot at the table and everything.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed that. It was a fun thing. I have to say, I love Melanie Scrofano. I never, ever, ever, ever want to see her eat a brownie open mouth like that again as a close-up. Dude, I got a thing about people chewing, and that was like... so upsetting to me, and then I had to watch it a few more times because I was rewatching. So it's like I was trying not to look when I was rewatching because it's just like it was very upsetting to me because I have such a thing about people chewing.
I thought it was hilarious. I loved it. I would watch her open mouth eat a brownie every episode if I could.
Like, I would rather watch the rat smoothie from last season.
Oh my God.
Which almost made me gag. Like, actually, no, it did make me gag. Like, I almost threw up watching that. I would rather watch that than watch the brownie chewing in this episode.
Oh,
that's how bad my thing is with people chewing.
God, that was funny.
But yeah, it's kind of got the shiny happy people vibe from Angel, that Angel season 5 episode 2, or is it season 4? It's season 4. It's the Gina Torres episode. I'm really upset that I remembered that because that's a really bad season of Angel. I just need to note that. I'm really mad at myself that I knew that off the top of my head, but couldn't list the Buffy episode I wanted to name. Yeah, I'm really excited. It should be a good time.
Yeah, I think so. I think she's going to be a lot of fun. I'm having more fun with the trees than I thought I would. Like, especially in this episode, when that tree just, like, jumps out in front of Franco, that, like, fleeing revenant.
Yeah, we straight up have Ents.
Yeah, and it just steps, like, right in front of him and knocks him down. And they're bleeding all over the place. It looks like they're eating people. And but for real though, like, to go back to that quote again, like the whole like the earth thirsts for blood thing. If the trees are like devouring people whole, there might be something to that. You know what I mean? Like, and I've been thinking this whole time that the woods were fleeing, but what if they're hunting? Yeah,
maybe. I like that theory. I mean, yeah, that tree stepping out in the road. I mean, that's confirmation that the trees have been moving, which has been suggested, this season. Yeah. Also, we have now mentioned, we talked about it last episode, or not, was it last episode? No, it was the episode before, about the, the earth thirst for blood. And it was pointed out to us that we missed a Buffy reference, that we missed an opportunity to make a Buffy reference. So since we have now mentioned it twice in this episode,
From Beneath You It Devours?
I feel like we need to mention the From Beneath You It Devours. Otherwise, I at least know one person who's going to DM me and go, what the hell? You didn't mention this again.
Sorry.
No, I wasn't thinking about it. So yeah, it does kind of have a similar feel, especially with how we were talking about it when we were talking about episode 2, with the earth kind of, if you want to talk about like the earth dying in parts or whatever, or like, presenting hey, this is a bad thing that's coming up, the Hellmouth and like the From Beneath You It Devours and the Bringers and the First and everything. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot of Buffy in one section. Sorry. No,
I'm surprised we missed that.
I am too.
I'm surprised at us.
Yeah, I honestly was too. When it was pointed out to me, I had an crap moment, except I didn't say that. But since we try not to curse on the podcast, I'm not going to say what I actually said. So I wanted to make sure that we didn't make the same mistake twice.
Mm-hmm. One more thing too, like before we move away from the trees, like I really hope that Robin's like instant plague lung infection isn't fatal or necrotic, because I think he's a cutie and I would prefer to keep him. I also don't think that looked like blood. It looked really black in his hand. But given that the sneaky root kind of carts him off in the end, I think it's also possible that the trees either want to eat him or turn him into one of them. And another theory that I'm like working with is like, what if the trees we see moving were all purgatory inhabitants at some point, and the woods keep changing because they keep changing people into murder trees?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I'm with you on that one, especially he found clothes at the bottom of that one tree.
Yep.
And they also very specifically keep mentioning that they're poplar trees, which might come up, but it is like the same kind of tree that keeps moving. Although, based with a quick Google, it's possible that they are incorrectly identifying them as poplar trees. But either way, it's just kind of one of those things where it's like, that might come up in its own just because you don't specifically name something like that unless it might come up later. They have no reason to keep referring to the poplar trees.
Well, I know that especially in like old Greek mythology, and if you look at like paganism and stuff, trees are sacred and have certain like powers. Like the rowan tree protects against witchcraft and like stuff like that. So poplar trees, let me kind of like table that and come back to you guys with something more, because I mean, I don't know how plentiful poplar trees are in Canada, you know what I mean? So like, if they're calling them that, then they're probably calling them that because they want us to associate something with poplars. So I will take that for next week, and I'll give you guys something about poplar trees, because I bet there's something for every tree.
Yeah, I mean, that's why, branching out a little bit, kind of adding to what you said, that's why in a lot of fantasy types of wood is used for particular things. That's why J.K. Rowling uses it with Harry Potter, with, different types of wand woods and stuff like that. Like, it's magical qualities are assigned to a lot of different trees and stuff like that. So that's been around for a long time, like you were saying. But yeah, I wanted to note that in specifically. Yeah, I mean, the other thing about like the trees is they're showing up around the massacre site when there shouldn't have been that big. So something's either you've got like a really fast growing tree situation, or they've moved in to that particular area. Maybe there's something about that area. So
yeah, maybe they're gravitating towards the stairs.
Well, maybe, but the stairs kind of disappeared, so.
True. The stairs do move also. Never mind. I forgot. We've got so many moving things.
And I thought that was interesting, because the stairs did appear, we get your creepy fog. Not sexy fog, though, just creepy fog. And that staircase that appears that Jeremy says, that's not for us.
Right.
So I wonder who it's for.
Yeah, Jeremy, that was a really cool moment where, like he sees the super creepy stairs and, don't climb those. I feel it in a super normal part of my body, I think is like the next thing that he says. And it's funny, but it's also, it like harkens back to the season 2 finale when we found out that he was something special. And I really hope that we find out more of his abilities this season. If I had to make a baseless guess about the stairs, I would say that we're looking at some kind of ascension ritual or a sacrifice.
Probably. I would say that's a safe bet. I also, if Robin was in a horror movie, he would be dead immediately. Not only does he just lick the random bleeding tree, but his first impulse is to go up the stairs.
True.
He would immediately, he would be doomed.
Yeah, we don't even know his last name yet. That's not a good sign.
No. It's not at all.
I did really like Robin and Jeremy's, murder tree conversation, though. Looks like blood, but it can't be blood, because that's crazy. But I tasted it, and it was blood. You tasted the murder tree? Yeah, blood. That was really funny. And also, just their awkward, getting to know you session. And those, horrible, first moments when you're, trying to discern the number of gay people in the room. I thought that was, hilarious and really relatable.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Especially because, Waverly already kind of basically told Jeremy.
Oh, yeah, she totally did. That was a 100% a setup.
And then, even... it's just the whole thing, and I adored it so much, because, who hasn't been, sitting there, please just confirm it, because I need you to 100% tell me, so I'm not relying on my please be gaydar. No, that was, and I love the, gay? Irish. Yes, gay.
Yeah, I thought that was really funny, too.
Yeah, I like that. It'd be nice to see that, Jeremy get a boyfriend or something, but it's not looking too good for Robin so far. And We know he shows up again because he's the weird potato licker.
Yeah, I thought so.
So I was really thinking that was going to happen in this episode, so I might be able to finally unmute the word potato on Twitter, but it turns out I have to wait another couple of
Maybe
weeks.
next week.
So
why do you think Peacemaker freaked out? Because, like, it didn't let Wynonna shoot Franco, that Rev who was running in the beginning. And then, like, you know, Michelle grabs it near the end, and she makes off with it. And I don't know that she's planning to use it, but if she fires that gun, she'll be at least the second non-air to fire it, right? Because Waverly also fired it once at Rosita.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the gun is doing. You know what I mean?
I think there's two unrelated things with that, because I believe Peacemaker in the beginning, that was Peacemaker out of ammo. Apparently, Peacemaker needs ammo to work, which saying that out loud seems like such a stupid thing because it's a gun and Wynonna has always carried an ammo belt. But we've discovered this new problem that, you know, there's no money and no ammo and stuff like that. I mean, the money thing makes sense because, like, how are they getting money? Waverly doesn't seem to work. Doc doesn't. I mean, well, Doc has Shorty, sorry. But Wynonna can't have been making money. Like, you know, Doc makes a comment about, like, with Doll's dead, you know, the BBD pipeline has gone away, but BBD went away in the middle of last season. As far as they knew, they went away.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, who's been supplying them since? And where are they getting the funds? Like, how was Wynonna getting paid? How was Jeremy getting paid? Like, it brought up a lot of weird questions. But, like, also somehow the sheriff's department budget is so crappy that they couldn't supply the group with ammo, or they didn't have any, like, that they were having a budgetary problem that risked the sheriff's department closing, which was confusing because it's literally like Nicole and that old lady and Nedley, because the sheriff's department isn't that big. And they already lost Lonnie in episode 1.
Poor Lonnie.
I know. But yeah, I honestly, so I think in the beginning that was an ammo thing. And we've talked about Peacemaker being a sentient gun.
Yeah.
And we've talked about Peacemaker choosing when to work, choosing when to tell people, like, hey, like, let me go or whatever, because it has buzzed. Remember when Waverly used it in the season 2 finale, Peacemaker immediately, like, buzzes, and she's like, make up your mind, or heats up, or whatever it does, shocks, or whatever it does. And I think in that case, it was probably just a reminder, like, hey, I let you use me, but I'm still not yours yet, kind of.
That was kind of what threw me about Michelle just being able to take it, because if Peacemaker didn't want to be taken, it could have done any of those things. You know what I mean?
I was getting there.
Oh, sorry.
No,
I was
it's
like,
okay.
no, yeah, that's my problem. Right, okay.
No, yeah, I was getting there. Lara, you should know by now it takes me twice as long to get to a point.
Sorry, I've got it.
No, it's okay. No, but I think in this case, I think Peacemaker I think we've been shown Peacemaker is decent at showing, at least understanding intention of the user.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think Michelle ever intended to use Peacemaker in that moment, at least. And even if she wanted to take Peacemaker to kill a demon to save Waverly, depending on how much wiggle room you want to give for Peacemaker, maybe it was okay being taken, and it may or may not have worked in that moment, because Peacemaker only worked for Waverly when Wynonna told it to.
Yeah.
But it worked for Wynonna to kill Ward. So, I don't know, like, and Ward was a very corrupt man. We've talked about that, and talked about that, and talked about that. So I think maybe Peacemaker didn't feel like it was in danger or anything, or something. I think, or it was just a goof. You know, or she shouldn't have been able to take Peacemaker. But we know that Peacemaker has no problem telling people, hey, let go of me.
Yeah. So I thought that was
Yeah.
weird that she was just able to take it so easily. Like,
so
it was like it wanted to be taken.
Yeah, and it's possible. I think it's definitely possible. It's possible that if it's because it seems to pick up on intention, maybe it was okay with going with her. You know, it's no idea. That was, again, a long-winded way to say I don't know.
Me neither.
Sorry. Yeah, I know. I just like to talk, so again, twice as long to say nothing at all.
No, I think you covered all my questions and theories about that.
Yeah, I hadn't really thought about it, to be honest, since like I haven't really put a lot of thought into why she was allowed to take Peacemaker. So, I don't know. I wasn't worried about it. I was, there was a lot more about all of that nonsense that I was worried about than really considering why Michelle had Peacemaker. Like, one of those things is, we saw Wynonna's truck in this episode. Not only did we see the truck, she was driving it. Purgatory must have a hell of a mechanic to be able to fix up that busted truck that fell off of a cliff and got all busted up and totaled. Like, that thing had to have been totaled.
Did it go off the cliff?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it went off a hill, not like a cliff, but okay. I shouldn't have said cliff. It did go off of something, because it was like there was still something to go down, so it did flip. Remember, it flipped over.
Yeah, it did. It landed on its top.
Yeah. So it didn't, there were, levels to it, so it still wasn't, more like the hill thing. Either way, it went off of the thing that I'm having a lack of a word for, so I used cliff. But, I mean, that's a pretty damn good mechanic to have not only the truck in not totaled condition, but to have it back so quickly. It hasn't been that long since they crashed.
Well, we know the Revenants move really quickly, and maybe it's a Revenant garage.
Well, then I need to take my car there, because the only mechanic I have in the area, takes 6 weeks to do something very simple, so. I mean, it was nice to see the truck, but it was still one of those things where it's like, that truck was definitely totaled. There was no way that truck wasn't totaled.
I wonder if the truck is going to be, the new, Buffy's house. Because, every week, every week it would just be, destroyed by something. Xander even makes a joke, in one of the, later seasons where he's, talking about how he's, always repairing, that beautiful front bay window that's just always smashed out.
Yep.
Maybe there'll just be, new and creative ways to, destroy the truck, and then the truck is fine.
Well, I mean, yeah, Xander had to become a handyman to keep up with the cost of repairing, Ravello Drive.
Yeah, just that house.
Yeah, I mean, that could be it. Maybe one of the group becomes a mechanic. I vote Nicole.
Yeah, I could go for that.
Who wouldn't? I actually wouldn't mind Doc either, but I would be very happy with Nicole, the mechanic.
I bet Wynonna could do it. I bet she could just fix it herself. She seemed to know a lot about her motorcycle when she got it in season 1.
Side note, if anybody has that fic with Nicole as a mechanic, please send it to our Twitter account.
Somebody's got it.
I know, that's why I asked. It has to exist.
Somebody's got a fic of her as the mechanic next door neighbor who, AMs as a barista. Somebody has that fic.
And if not, somebody please write it and send it to us. Just, please.
Yeah, just credit me. But,
credit make your peace with the idea.
Just credit us. Before I forget, and it was kind of a weird little thing, I don't, know where to put it really, but I thought it was kind of wild to hear Wynonna tell that Revenant prison guard who was trying to kill her that she had a kid. Whether it, to hear her say, whether Wynonna, lives or dies, the line isn't broken, and it doesn't end with her. But I think it was kind of crazy for the same reason that it always is when we see Wynonna sort of, embracing her destiny. Only this time, even though she's, fighting like hell to end this curse, she's embracing Alice's place in this legacy, too.
Yeah. And, I mean, I think there's a lot to it, too. I mean, her goal is to end this curse so Alice doesn't have to deal with it. So it's also, no matter what, this is going to be done. And I think she was fairly confident that she was going to be able to take that Revenant out. Even though she's still going to need to get Peacemaker back and kill him in some way. He's going to come back. Because he's not, he wasn't killed with Peacemaker.
Right.
I do, since we're talking about it again, This comes to one of my issues with the episode, and something I think there's a lot of things when they try to do it, they do manage to do well, I think, when it comes to characters and stuff like that. I think one thing they tried and failed to do in this episode was to do one of those, like, the prison / mental health system is broken as all get out. It felt like they were trying to send that kind of message, and it just felt really flat because of some stuff like the warden having no care in the world that an inmate under his care is just escaped and was about to go try to kill her daughter. The warden had no care in the world. And he was just presented as this really, like, kind of apathetic dude, or who, like, but also only cared about himself. I don't know. It wasn't done well to present that certain message. And because I feel like that was what they were trying to do. Like, I feel like that's what they've been trying to do with her, is show that the system is broken.
Well,
Would you agree?
I think Wynonna says it to the warden, like, you guys suck at treating mental illness or something. Like, she says exactly that line. Yeah.
So it just, for me, it kind of fell flat. And, like, this was one of them when she walks into his office and tosses a head into the trash can. It's like, unless there's something about him where he already knows about demons and who Wynonna is, there is no reason anybody should have been calm, especially not a prison warden, should have been calm to a woman walking in with the head of one of his guards and throwing it in his trash can. That takes a lot of suspension of disbelief to believe. He had no reaction to that except to uncuff her. Which, I mean, that makes sense. You don't want to, like, be on the, like, you don't want to piss off somebody who's apparently very unhinged. But it's just, she, like, very publicly decapitated this guy. And there was, like, barely a reaction. And like I said, I'm still, like, him being chill about, he takes a very chill attitude about Michelle going to kill Waverly. Like, oh, she's finally going to kill her demon daughter. Like, dude, she's in there because she apparently tried, according to your record. So why are you so chill? Like, a lot of that really bothered me, and I feel like it really fell flat for the message that they were trying to, like, present.
I kind of look at the warden the same way that I looked at the judge. You know what I mean?
But like, the judge knew what was going on.
Yeah, and I don't think that there's any reason to believe that a warden in the Ghost River Triangle wouldn't also know what's going on. I mean, Sheriff Nedley's a sheriff, and Sheriff Nedley knows what's going on. So I just kind of thought he was an evil dude in the know, like Kreiderman, Judge Kreiderman.
But it's still, like, it wasn't really presented like that. Like, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. And it, like, for those in power in those circles and stuff like that, in the law enforcement circles, to have that knowledge makes sense. So, like, I get you with that one. But I don't know. It's just, I feel like there still should have been a reaction or something, you know? Like, it didn't quite land with me.
I feel like they were trying to go for both of those things. Like what you said with, like, you know, the prison system is broken or reform is broken. But I do think that they were trying to present him as an evil person who was in the know about evil dealings. And I get what you're saying, and I think that we probably would have benefited from a direct call out. You know? Like him, like if the warden had been like, Bolshar's gonna kill you, or you know, or like, you're not gonna live long enough to, you know, even regret this because something's coming. Or, you know, just like if there had been, if we had gotten any one of those kind of lines for him, or from him, I don't think that you and I would be having this discussion at all. Because I think certainly it would just be crystal clear.
Yeah, it fell really flat, and like they didn't really put much thought into it, I guess. I don't know. It was really weird for me to be watching this, and so, like, there was no reaction, and it was like, I love Wynonna. I don't want Wynonna to get in trouble for doing that, but by the same token is, you can't necessarily have a hero who publicly decapitates somebody without any sort of, what's the word?
Repercussion?
Yes, thank you. I couldn't think. I was like running through a whole bunch of different R words and you can't necessarily do that without any kind of repercussion. So I guess, like, if we don't see any in the future, I'm going to be pretty disappointed. Just because, like I said, I love Wynonna and I don't necessarily want to see her get arrested and stuff, but it's still one of those things where it's like, you know, there should be some consequence to her doing that. You get it? Like, you get what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying. I think that, but again, I don't think that there even needs to be a consequence. So I don't agree with that, because Buffy got away with a lot of that stuff all the time.
She did.
But the good thing, or the thing that Buffy, I think, made it a point to do that was a little bit different, is that they would say, like, some outlandish cover-up, and everybody would just kind of be stunned and, like, go with it and be like, oh, yeah. Because everybody knows that they're living in Sunnydale. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And all of these people know that they're living in purgatory. So I think in the future, if there's just some, you know, however small, like, line acknowledging those things, I think that would make it a little smoother.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's just, for right now, it's kind of one of those things where you're like, hello? Like, not that I'm mad that Wynonna saved herself and stuff like that, but I don't know. I guess just a lot of stuff fell flat for me this episode, or a lot of stuff just felt sloppy, and that was just, like I said, that was one of them. You know, and some stuff was weird since I'm still on this train. You know, like, first of all, that was a HIPAA violation, like, in 50 bajillion different ways. With the woman from the institution, or, you know, prison, calling Waverly, saying, is this the emergency contact, without giving a name, and then giving information over the phone. Like, you have to confirm who it is. You can't just say, oh, is this the emergency contact? Like, I don't know. Like, you kind of have to do more of a confirmation of who you're talking to before you give out any information. And if they're still pretending that they're an institution instead of a prison, I'm pretty sure they still have to follow HIPAA. And I'm very sure that's a HIPAA violation. And then, like, I just had a question about that, like, because the woman says, like, they need a signature to transfer Michelle, and the bus is waiting. So why is the bus waiting if they needed a signature to transfer her? And then later, when Wynonna shows up, the warden is like, we don't need your signature because she attacked her therapist. But if she was being transferred for attacking the therapist, and that was why Waverly got the call, and she was told that she needed a signature, why is Wynonna then told, oh, she doesn't actually need a signature, we're just going to transfer her anyway? It was very confusing. I don't like confusing things like that.
I don't think I paid attention to any of that.
Really?
Really. Just didn't.
Hi, I'm Catherine, and I am a nitpicky TV viewer, especially when I watch something 3 times in a few days.
Yeah, like, I didn't catch any of those. I mean, like, the HIPAA violation, like, I'll give you that one. Like, I think I kind of chuckled about that, about that too. But, because they did just, like, offer that up, like, really quickly, and that's kind of funny. But, like...
I mean, and I mean, like, I'm pointing it out as kind of like as per usual, we have a weird violation like that in television. My concern is mostly the signature thing.
Yeah, I didn't...
And part of that is, I you know, somebody pointed it out to me, so I was, like, really paying attention to it on my second and third rewatches. But yeah, I mean, it was just, that was a weird thing for me, and you know how I nitpick. So... it's not me if I don't have a bajillion things to nitpick about.
I got you, dude. I didn't catch any of that.
I appreciate you. And
I know.
I'm
like
TV like you sometimes.
Yeah. I was just like, she's gonna see her mom. You know, like, I don't know. Yeah.
This is one of those times I feel like I have to reiterate, I don't like being this person where I have to nitpick the things that I enjoy watching. So I just have to embrace it and roll with it.
I'm just like, I got really caught up on the little metal emblems on Wynonna's sleeve. Like, that's the thing, like, costume got me this time. Like,
oh yeah, I
like, she's got those little, like, metal teardrop looking things, and they look like two like planchettes, like the wood or plastic pieces that get pushed around a Ouija board. And I'm not sure if that was intentional, but that's the only thing I could think about when it popped up on screen. And we have dealt quite a bit with like spiritualism and the cult always, but especially within the first few episodes of this season. So I think maybe it was intentional. And I thought that was really neat.
Yeah, maybe, because it wasn't her usual leather jacket, was it?
No, it was a different parka.
Right. See, I wasn't even paying attention to what kind of jacket it was. Also, thank you for explaining the planchette thing, because it sounded familiar, but then I couldn't remember that's exactly what it was. So thank you for giving a detail, like explaining fully what that was. Because I was like,
I had to look it up because I was just calling it the little triangle things, and I was like, they've got a name.
I like it though, little triangle things.
Yeah.
I love Robin writing like Wood's help on the police forms.
Yeah, and that was one of my favorite quotes too. Yes, can you?
Wynonna's Doc impression when she's talking about being out of ammo kind of made me laugh too.
Yeah, I thought that right at the beginning, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I thought that was really funny. I thought the bassinet moment was a big one for Doc.
Oh, I know.
I'm glad we had it because men nest too during a pregnancy.
Yeah.
And I think it says a great deal that he hasn't been able to part with it yet. He's just like not ready to admit that Alice will never sleep in the crib that he built for.
I know. Doc, I know that moment, it was just kind of like a little punch in the heart.
It was.
I mean, it was on there as one of my favorite moments because I like the punch in the feels, but yeah, that moment is just so. And I just have one of my notes is just Zoe Palmer under my favorite moments.
Oh yes,
I had to mention that, and Nicole's unicorn shirt, pretty awesome.
There's nothing Waverly loves more than a project, and I love Matchmaker Waverly.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. Not subtle at all. It's great. Yeah, I like that. I also, one of the things I thought was interesting, Waverly introducing Nicole as Officer Hot instead of Nicole, or kind of any indication that maybe they're a thing, to Robin. And I only pointed out because, since she knew him in high school and he was, I guess, out at least, or people assumed, I just thought it was interesting that you wouldn't necessarily have that, oh, hey, me too.
Yeah.
That kind of interaction. And she kind of, because Nicole had kind of an interesting look on her face when she was introduced as Officer Hot. So I thought that was kind of an interesting move on Waverly's part.
Yeah. I think that's a little weird, because it's a thing that we do. It's a thing that gay people do. Like,
mm-hmm.
Me too.
Yeah, it's that, like, what's that joke? It's like, gay people, when they see another gay person, it's like an excited puppy or something like that. Something like it's just...
Especially in such a small town. Yeah, you think...
Yeah, when you've got that small town situation, when you've got that people you went to high school and lost touch with, you're like, hey, let me introduce you to this awesome person, and we have another thing in common, or something like that.
Yeah, I see your point. That was a little weird.
Yeah, it just, it struck me, it's just because it's like, it'd be one thing if, like, Waverly didn't know, but she very clearly knew that he was gay in high school. Like, it's very clear, so I don't know. But yeah, Nicole's face was kind of, like, it makes sense in some regards, but that one was just kind of, they don't understand us. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I thought it was interesting, so I wanted to mention that. Oh, we should probably mention the fact that Nicole decided the best way to get rid of Bolshar's ring is to toss it in the middle of the woods. Hold on. Not just the middle of the woods, but in the middle of the woods, right where that massacre happened, and has a connection to Bolshar.
I'm not gonna lie, when she had that, like, conversation about how she was, like, looking for the perfect place to, like, discard it, like, so that it would never be found, and then, like, at the end of that scene we see her just, like, chuck the ring, I laughed, because it's sort of like, it seems like something that I would do, like start out like really serious about something, you know, be like, oh, we gotta, you know, like, no, I've got to find the perfect spot, I've got to blah blah blah, I've got to do all, and then just like get fed up with it, like don't want to carry the burden anymore, and just be like, whatever, and like throw it away. I don't know, I related to it a little bit. I thought that was like super silly.
Yeah, it
because she literally says she's looking for the perfect place, and then she just throws it.
I think, I mean, that was one of the most obvious, this is going to come back and bite you in the ass things they could have done, though.
Oh, yes, it will.
But I'll just sit and wait for how, like, what are you doing, Nicole? Like, at least throw it out of the triangle. If you're going to just toss it,
that would have been good. Yeah, that would have been good. And,
not
like,
in the middle of...
at, like, the end of the episode, they're talking about how Bolshar wants his ring back. And, like, what are the odds that she's gonna, like... So, like, say she needs to give it to him. You know, like, say he, like, kidnaps Waverly. And he's like, just give me my ring back. I know that you took it, and I'll give you her back. Yeah. But, like, GPS and, like, compasses don't even work in those forests now. So, like... And they keep moving. So, like, how are you gonna find it?
Yeah. Or maybe that's the simple exchange that Bolshar is wants, you know... Give me my ring, and I'll give you what, like, you know, maybe that's the exchange.
Yeah, I think that's...
Maybe that's part of the exchange.
I think that's likely, yeah.
So, and give me something else. There's probably a lot more to it than just the ring, but...
Gotta be.
There's most certainly more to it. He definitely wants something from Doc, but yeah, he could also use the ring as a bargaining chip with Doc.
It's gotta be... quite the mind game for Wynonna to get locked up in that padded room, what with her childhood and all. Like, when she looks at that never get out on the wall and everything, she's, you know, like, you can see the panic on her face, and, you know, I think she says, like hell I will, or you know, or something like that, but, you know, like, she denies that she'll be stuck in there, but you can see how terrified she is.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that padded room... Also, sorry, another nitpicky thing. I'm pretty sure the prison therapist would not have been locked in the padded room with an inmate who had a violent history. Like, they wouldn't have met in the padded room. They would have met somewhere else. Just throwing it out there. Sorry, this episode is subtitled, Catherine Gets Hella Nitpicky. And we lose listeners. No. Yeah, I mean, you're right though, that was a good moment with Wynonna being thrown in there, and it is, I mean, I think the warden knew what he was doing when he threw it in there and detained her, even though he shouldn't have detained her. Mm-hmm. It's certainly not in that padded room. I mean, no wonder the board's on him about excessive force from his guards.
Right.
So, yeah, but I did, that moment was a good one too. Oh, just... I guess a couple of just random notes that I want to make sure we mention. We were talking, I think it was last week when we were trying to figure out, or when we were talking about how old Nicole was.
Yeah.
If she was 6 in 96, she's about Wynonna's age. So that plaque says that massacre happened in 96. So she's about Wynonna's age.
Cool.
So just as a side note. Depending on, I'm assuming Wynonna has had a birthday since the series started. I'm assuming we've had a year pass, so I'm assuming Wynonna is 28. Mm-hmm. So that would make Nicole 28 as well. Assuming. Yeah, we have to be, because we've got a Christmas episode coming up. So the winter solstice was at the end of season 1, and season 1 spanned a few months. So, yeah, we gotta be. Wynonna's had a birthday. So, yeah, they're about the same age. So, fun side note. She might be a tad older, depending on... It's hard when seasons don't follow the same, like, yearly timeline as, like, we're on. But, yeah, so she's Wynonna's age or a tad older, basically. And we found out that BBD burned the evidence of the massacre. That was what the fire was. But I think that was kind of easy to assume. Mm-hmm. With BBD's history of using fire and explosives or whatever.
Missiles, yeah.
Yeah, so. And then I do just have a question that I'm kind of looking forward to getting an answer to. We keep getting random pieces of Nicole's history with that massacre. And she mentions having already been at the river when the massacre happened. And I'm kind of wondering what drew a 6-year-old at a music festival who should have been watched by her aunt and uncle who brought her there. I'm kind of wondering how she ended up down at the river before the massacre started.
Yeah, it's like maybe a good fairy like lured her away.
Yeah, I think I definitely, we've talked about, like, we talked about this before. It could probably tie into whoever rescued her.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, she was 6 and she's getting these memories back in pieces and you've got trauma here and stuff like that. So she probably doesn't remember, like, she might not remember things accurately, or she might not remember everything. Like, I mean, I remember stuff from when I was 6 years old. I don't remember everything though. You know, like I can't detail everything, but it's like I can detail pieces, you know?
Yeah, me too.
So I'm wondering, yeah, I'm still looking forward to hearing what we've got left with Nicole, like what we've got left to kind of what happened with Nicole.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that does me for everything that's not quotes. So.
Quotes.
Yeah.
I really liked I only call in sick during Shark Week.
Yeah. That one was a good one. I liked, and Wynonna before that, you know, come on baby, don't embarrass me in front of the bad man.
Yeah.
And I mentioned Wynonna's Doc impression, the we're plumb out of projectiles, gonna sequester him here until we rustle up some ammo, then kapow.
Mm-hmm. I really liked, so Deputy Sheriff Nicole Hott, Esquire, when were you going to tell me you were the only child survivor of the cult of Bolshar, which sucks dong, but congrats on the living.
Yeah. Just give her a minute, her purse is bigger than my vehicle.
I loved that.
Yeah. I actually think I missed it on the first watch, but I caught it on the second or third.
I had that one, and I had you already said the other one too. This just says woods. Help. Yeah, can you?
Oh, when Waverly brings out the phones. All right, charge them up and then immediately delete all your texts from Champ. And Nicole chimes in, especially the photos, obviously.
Yeah.
And we talked about Nicole walking in on Doc and Wynonna.
I really liked her, to which I replied I would rather watch an all-male version of Pitch Perfect twice. And what Wynonna's follow-up to that stupid effective Supergirl power speech.
Yeah. Can we talk? It's about Nedley. Not again. How many more plungers do we need?
Uh-huh.
Jeremy had the very relatable Tinder line. When I downloaded Tinder, it said I was the only match within 50 miles and I still swiped left.
I know, I liked that.
And just like their whole exchange with the very funny it could happen. I mean, I met Nicole. She walked into a Roadhouse bar, you whipped off your shirt, and that was that. Like a beautiful fairy tale porno. But yeah, the Tinder bit was like really relatable, so.
I really liked Robin's. Anyway, I'm super crap at the wood stuff. The last time I led a field trip, the buddy system broke down and I lost one. Lost one what? A kid.
I died. Oh, that was so good. I liked their tree puns. So like when Jeremy opens up with, so this deadly deciduous, and Robin's like, the murder tree. Yeah, there were all these fancy clothes about it. Sounds intriguing. Good, because I'm completely stumped.
I liked it too. Nerds.
Yeah, I love a good pun. And most of the bad ones. Who are you calling? Sexy human bloodhound. He's not available.
I liked Wynonna standing up to Michelle and being like, if you ever touch a strand of that perfect, luscious mane, I swear to God, like talking about Waverly.
That was next on my list. Jeremy asking Doc, are you sure? Do you need a compass? I am a compass! And as far as favorite lines go, I only had one more. Did you have more?
Yeah, I've got 3 more.
What?
Yeah.
There you go. It finally happened.
Ah!
Now, I have 3 other chunks on my list, but
just give it to me.
No, hold on. No, I was explaining. But those are another one of those, like, I wanted them for reference, so they don't actually count.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Do you not get Revenant Snapchat up here? I had a kid dipshit is actually the last one on my line that counts, or last one on my list that counts as like a favorite quote.
I really liked her lock her up. What did I do if you say emails? That Hillary Clinton joke.
I actually missed the emails joke the first time.
Yeah, I really like that joke.
I actually only caught it because of subtitles.
My last two quotes are, by me, you're, when Nedley walks in and he's saying that he's the one that, like, you know, redacted the file, and he's like, you're a grown-up now, and you use proper grammar, so I guess you have a right to know. And I just liked that, like, qualifier, like, you're a grown-up and you use proper grammar, so I thought that was really funny. And then also, does your car have seat warmers? Because I ripped my pants while decapitating. It happens.
Yeah, that one was a good one, too. I liked Nedley's line, and I thought I had that written down, but I think I might have written down in my other part of my notes, like, not as a quote, but yeah, that Nedley line was great. The seat warmer one was good, too, but...
I think that's everything for me.
Oh, there is one thing. One of the things I wrote down, like, the really lengthy things, I wrote down the Meushaw on tape stuff, and I'm also just putting here, just in case I need to reference it.
Probably,
but I'm wondering if there's anything to the birds that she mentioned.
Yeah, she was going on about them.
Yeah, because she mentioned robins, sparrows, and magpies in addition to cardinals. And I know there's some symbolism with those. I didn't have time, so I'm going to put a pin in that as well. We'll put a pin in the bird symbolism as well as the tree symbolism to maybe talk about it next week.
Okay, cool.
But also, if anybody has any thoughts about the bird thing, I wanted to mention it, or about like just Meushaw on tape, throw them our way, because I'm interested. I always end up just Googling for symbolism and stuff like that. But if there's knowledge that somebody has, I'd love to hear it. Because yeah, I was thinking about looking that up. Just because it was interesting to list them specifically, because I don't know how regional those birds are. The magpie struck me. Yeah. I don't, I'm not a bird person, so.
Me neither. Ornithology, is that it? I don't know.
I think so. I was going to say it, but then I wasn't confident enough in a pronunciation, because sometimes I mispronounce things and it's late. I think you're right, though. Since it sounds right to me, I think you're right. So with that, I think that was everything I had.
Yeah, that was it for
me.
So
we can go ahead and wrap it on up. Thank you, everybody, for listening. If you haven't read my recap yet and are interested, I've retweeted it from the Make Your Peace Twitter, which is at 4YE_MYP podcast. And if you want to give us a follow, give 4YE a follow, you can do that at 4_Y_E. They usually get tweeted out every week directly from that Twitter, and then I retweet it from the Make Your Peace Twitter. So also you can get, and see what else we've got going on at the site, for any vampire fans, as I shamelessly plug an interview I did. There's an interview there with Ella Kwaku, who's in an upcoming Romeo and Juliet story. It's a movie that kind of plays on that. So if you guys are interested in reading that, as I shamelessly plug some of my other pieces, but that one was fun. So I'm going to plug that one. Every so often we get the shameless plugs, right?
Absolutely.
So you can also see all of that stuff directly on the site at 4ye.co.uk, and that is the number 4. I think that's everything I need to plug for 4YE. You can find me personally on Twitter at cmeushaw, which is at CMEUSHAW. One of these days I'm going to say that wrong. I just know it. And Lara, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at RSMayfair.
And since we're plugging things, don't forget to buy our book.
I have a book.
Alrighty. Well, next week we should have a fun time talking about Zoe Palmer.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. So thanks for listening, guys. And we'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys.